it's very important to make sure that your requirement sets reviewed and interfaced with both the space station, your end user, the customer, which in this case is the space station program, and not only with the space station program, but also with the customer that's using the requirements, which in the COTS case was our industry partners. At the time, when Alan was working and was the program manager for the COTS program, I was the ISS integration manager that was responsible for developing the integration strategies from a station perspective. So I was in the lucky position of being the customer. But what was important from a customer perspective was we actually had to reduce our requirements, just like we talked about. All the process that we went through, we could have come in, and in fact, Alan Lindemore and the C3PO program had originally come up with a requirements document that and it was really a ConOps document that laid out almost perceived requirements in it for the providers to meet. And they had used that as they were working through their original SAA selections. And after the awards and I had come into my job, we then looked at even at that document and we said, from a ISS customer perspective, we felt like we weren't giving the providers enough latitude. Now, Alan himself couldn't do that because he wasn't the customer. It really took the customer and the station program, which I was representing, it took us to be able to say, we're reducing our set of requirements. We're opening up that trade space. So us then doing that then really allowed Alan and his team kind of the freedom to be able to work with the providers and get them to develop the various design solutions that then met the smaller set of customer requirements. If the station program wouldn't have been through that process and been working with them hand in hand, at the end, potentially we would have had a product that we didn't buy into that reduction of the requirements, right? And so it really takes both the customer, that's the end user that's going to be using that product, to be able to really understand what's the core set of requirements and the needs that I'm going to have, and make sure that that is being worked with the provider, and so that Alan's team is informed of really what our needs were going to be. The other thing that was important was that over time, no program's static, and so over time, how we needed to use the vehicles and what we need to do changed over time, right? And so while Alan was working the COTS program, during that time we had gone out with the CRS procurement, and through that procurement we had ended up awarding pressurized missions to one of the providers under the COTS program, Orbital. And so with the customer in the station program and us working with Alan, we were able then to work with Alan to better tailor the needs of the Space Act Agreement to meet Orbital's new goals of being able to really prove out and demonstrate the pressurized configuration rather than the unpressurized configuration of their module, which is what they'd originally proposed to demonstrate under their COTS Space Act Agreement. So it was really that close relationship and us working together that then helped the COTS program be, working with their industry partners and helping them kind of develop the strategies that would then better enable them to provide the capability that they were on contract with us, with the station program for under the CRS contracts. And I also can't emphasize the importance of, I always view that industry partners are also a customer in this. I think that's the beauty of doing these Space Act agreements, is it really makes industry a partner with the development and with the and that they are more of an equal partner in the development. And so it was really their interface and their investment in the development of not only the requirements and helping us understand really the impacts of certain ways that the requirements were worded or their understanding of the requirements. That really helped us develop a requirement set and better understand our needs. And so I think both the end user, but from a station standpoint, and end user from an industry standpoint is important to have engaged when you're going through these kind of demonstration activities.